presenter today, and we still have a bike. Anybody's still welcome to bet on the bike if you want to bet on the bike. Um, we have a living, probably maybe the oldest person maybe living in Union City. How old are you? You're 94?
Well, I'm getting close to it.
He's getting close to 94. You know anybody older than 94 living in Union City? Bob Marsh. Where's Bob? Hey, Bob. Yeah, you haven't beat Bob. We gotta have Bob up here. Sometime we got a Bob Marsh up here, huh? Never lived anywhere else. How long have you lived here? 92. Wow. Huh? 90? 92? Okay. We'll put her on the spot. All right. So we have for our last presenter. First of all, I want to say what a pleasure this has been. And I hope you're enjoying yourselves right now. Yes. And I'm sure we're going to have lots of treats in the Hammond. If you've never been through the Hammond house, you're welcome to come in after the presentation and tour the house. We've got new renovations upstairs. Okay. So for one of our finals is Bill Avery. And I would just want to point out a couple of things about Bill. He was around for the mill fire, changes of businesses, many. What did you attend school here in Union City?
Yes,
Yep. Graduated from Union City. What year?
51.
51. And how he got involved in local government. He has been the county commissioner for 3 terms and mayor of Union City, the church council. He's been involved with the Historical Society of Preservation. Were you the president of the Historical Society? Treasurer.
No, I was treasurer.
Treasurer. Okay. And you see power. He loves to talk about the dam. So he's got a lot of things to talk about, and I don't want to take his time away. So let's hear it for Bill Avery. Bill Avery.
Thank you, Bobby. Hey, what a pleasure, since I know almost everybody. But then on the other hand, I might not know you either, because that's the last few months there have been some questions about who I am, and some people claim they know me, and found out they don't, and I bet none of you know me. You know my name, of course, and you know what I look like. You know I've been here a while, but the truth is nobody knows me because they didn't know my parents, or any. They might have known my brother. I had one brother that was here for a while, and he lived with oh goodness, the bus captain or whatever they called him outside of the Union City. He was George. That was his last name. And no. He was a farmer just outside on Division Street. Clay George. He run the buses for the Union City School, and my brother lived with him the last couple of years he was here. So, but no, it's interesting. People get a notion that they know a person, and yet there's so much they don't know, and sometimes it really messes things up. But yes, and the thing is, I have a lot of memory. I'm not going to share everything, but I think it's important to know that 90 years ago, I come to Michigan. I was 4 years old, but I come to Michigan for the first time and never went back. And I came from St. Joe, Missouri. Now that's a very special spot. You may not know this, but in about 1840 or so, that's where the uh, Oregon Trail started. Was in St. Joe, Missouri, went out west. Then the Sacramento Trail in California, it started there as well. I remember 1936 was the time that I was there the last time. Okay, so that was just 90 years ago, as I said. And so it's a memory that I share for a long time. I can't forget it because it was something that was a part of me. I come to Battle Creek, and that was a real challenge. Uh, we were a family from Missouri. I don't know. Michigan's different. Believe me, I mean, it's different. But of course, I was only 4 years old, so I didn't know the difference. So after 7 years old, my whole family blew up, and that was something that was difficult to handle. And then my mother took us kids, and she took us away from our dad, and eventually she abandoned us. And I was just 11 years old at that moment in time. And so from that point on, it's been pretty much Bill Avery all alone. Now, we hear stuff about homeless people and all kinds of things today. You know, it's tragedy in a sense because where in a world, how do those people survive? And it's not easy, believe me, it's not. But my father, who had lost touch with his family for over 3 months, um, somehow he discovered we were in an apartment in the north side of Battle Creek, all by ourselves. It was to me and two brothers at that moment. And he showed up when the food we were surviving on was gone. Didn't even have milk, no crackers, no bread, no peanut butter. It was gone. And he showed up unannounced, and I didn't know where he was or where he came from or where he was going for over 3 months. And so he took us away from that situation, and we survived that. And then after a couple of years, I was really a caregiver for my family. 11 years old. Can you imagine that? I took care of my siblings while he worked. Now, today, if you got caught doing that, they'd throw you in jail and take your kids away from you. You know that. So that's something that was a miracle in a sense to be able to escape that. And it's awesome when you look back as an adult now and knowing all those things happened, and you all you can do is give God the credit. You know, isn't that true? I don't. I mean, I didn't have any skills. I was 11 years old. So anyway, uh, it was a tough time for him. And one of the things that he was a marvelous person. He really was. And finally, after about 3 years of that, he decided it was time to get some help. And he married a lady who had 16 kids. Yeah. Now, it wasn't just that. She'd lost her first husband when she was pregnant with her 12th child. And she didn't, this is back in 1933. Now, you know, there was no Social Security, no help. All you had is welfare. And this poor gal had those 12 kids then. And she found a fellow that kind of favored her a little bit, and she married him. And his name was George Campbell, and he had 10 kids. Believe it or not, 10 kids. Now, you would have thought maybe these people were all done, but after they got settled and everything, they had four more. Imagine that. 20, 26 kids. And so my dad married into this. And it wasn't a real thrill to do all that. But one of the things that my stepmother then, real early in this relationship, she shared with me and probably a couple others, but she said, well, this was a kind of a challenging engagement with my second husband. She says, uh, there was a time when I had to say, hey, George, will you get out here? I need help. Your kids and my kids are beating up on our kids. I mean, how do you do that? You know, but anyway, their children was much younger than that, so they weren't getting beat up, I'm sure. But anyway, that little trip from Missouri to Michigan was a challenge. Now, I didn't hang around, and this was uh, a home out on Burlington Road. It's where we came from, Battle Creek. Now, again, I'm telling you, I don't care who you are. You don't know me. You might have known who I am and what I look like and all that business for 80 years, because that's how long I've been here, is 80 years. But anyway, to find out that after a short time, really, uh, this wasn't working very good. And I ended up with a person that some of you might have known. His name was Carl Washburn. His wife was Emma, and they lived out on Hainer Road. And they needed some help. And there's some situations with that, and I was their candidate. So I lived with them through junior and senior year in high school to finish school. And so, quite an experience. I'll never forget it, and I love it. Don't regret a minute of it either. So, I hope you don't get the wrong idea about this, because, time and events and all kinds of things challenge us. You've been challenged, I'm sure, but go through those kind of things and end up 94 years old. It was a challenge in a lot of ways because I didn't have a family. There was no support group. I was pretty much a captive, a slave in a way, Mister. And it was all, consensual on my part. I didn't have to do that, but he offered me room and board and $15 a week, and stay as long as I wanted to. And I did stay there 2 years for junior and senior year. We only milked 35 cows, and we started at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we got done at 8 o'clock at night. That was my day. And again, I don't regret a bit of it. It was wonderful to have that experience. Anybody that would complain about it doesn't know what life is at all. So, the thing I really wanted to say today, though, is letting you know who I am. I'm not who you thought I was. Now you know who I am, sort of. I've been married to my little wife over here for, it'll be 70 years in October. Can you imagine that? I mean, you have no idea what she's put up with. It was a challenge for her. It was a piece of cake for me because I didn't do anything. But anyway, the most important thing for me was this: I was a homeless kid at 16 years old. Folks, my dad, even though he rescued me and my two brothers, he died real young. He was 45. And I left that home out on Burlington Road and went to live with Mr. Washburn, his wife. And from that point on, my life was a mystery. I had no direction, no promises of anything at all. And so after high school, when you think about it, Washburns were not family or friends. They needed help. And so that $15 a week, I worked so much, I didn't have time to spend it. Really. When it comes to 8 o'clock at night, I want to tell you, I was tired. It was time to go to bed. And so, in a sense, I saved that $15 a week, which was $780 a year. But I got to eat, have clean clothes, and I loved farming. So it wasn't a challenge like most people might think. It was a picnic. And so the thing that then happened, I need to back up just a moment, because when I first moved out there on Burlington Road, there was a neighbor lady up there that was a widow. And she had several children, a very nice lady, but she found out I knew how to milk cows. I'm 13 years old. So she gets a hold of me. She's probably about, a good tee shot from our house where we lived. She offered me to milk her cows every night. And so I did that for about a year. And but she was a missing mother for me. Really. She was so kind and gentle and loving. She didn't do anything inappropriate. She just was a wonderful person. I can't forget her. I will never forget her. That was 80 years ago. Her name was Olive Matheson. Okay? And you might have known some of her children. If you've known Randy Matheson, his father was her son. Peggy Ogden is also part of that family. You know her, some of you will or have. And so, but this lady, I really, what a substitute for a mother that was missing. And I, out of 42 years, I had 1 week with my real mother. 1 week. But somebody filled that void. Mrs. Matheson was one of those people. Then, after finishing high school, I didn't have any place to go. I was on this farm. I didn't want to stay there. They didn't offer me anything. They didn't have to. I got what I wanted, but I needed a place to live. And you know, homeless people, when you don't have a safety net or family, you know, cousins or anything, where do they go? Under a bridge. I didn't do that. I found a lady right across the street from the Methodist Church. Her name was Nellie Williams Miller. Of all things, she also was a widow, living alone, but she rented her upstairs rooms to men only. No cigarettes, no booze, no girls. Buck a day. And I stayed there 5.5 years until I married my wife. So she filled a void that I had again where a mother was missing. She treated me so, it was out of sight. She was, I mean, she was well into her 70s, probably 80 years old. Now, I did do a few little things for her as a courtesy, and because she didn't have any family at all. She was just like me. And so I kind of filled a void for her. I did little errands for her. Not a lot, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, just, you know, as necessary. And so she was a little disappointed when I left and got married. And she cautioned me to be careful. But she was very motherly. But anyway, she's just one of the precious people. And then there was another person that you won't, most people don't know this, but they're right up here where the dollar store is. There used to be a little diner there. It was Whitey and Mabel's. Okay, and that's where I ate most of the time.
Whitey and Maple?
Whitey and Mabel's. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember that?
So now another thing about that is that I developed a friendship with Don Brewer. I'm sure some of you remember Don. He was a big young fellow, but we got to be good friends. And Don and I ate there quite frequently. He didn't have to because his parents lived on the corner of Calhoun Street and Broadway, the big house down there. Nice folks. But anyway, he would go and have lunch with me or dinner. And I developed this friendship with Donnie, which was just precious because as things sometimes happen, we double dated. Now, he had a girl and so did I. So don't get mixed up here. But we had a wonderful relationship. And believe it or not, his mother took on the challenge. Her name was Cora Grimes. And she was another one of these ladies. I think she'd gone through a divorce or something many years earlier. And I don't know the history on that. But anyway, she stepped up and become another one of those mothers. Just awesome person. She was so kind and everything to me until the day she died. We'll never forget her. She was so precious. Another person some of you might remember was a lady by the name of, well, she went by Millie Baumeister. She had a son of Chris and a daughter, Marion. Marion lived in Battle Creek, but Chris lived here until the day he died. But Millie was another one of those people. She was she would have been my grandmother, but I'm saying all this because those people, none of them knew me. None of them. They did not know me. And yet, this unknown kid was nurtured by those people. Precious, precious. So, Millie, what her husband, his name was High. It was he went by High. I think his name might have been Heisler, or I don't know. That'd be a guess because I only know him as High Burmeister. But a wonderful person he was, and he was a rather grandfather in a sense. But anyway, going through all this, our culture today is so unforgiving and so mean and so ornery and all kinds of things. And it's hard to find people that love people. And yet, I am so grateful, in spite of what I had to deal with as a homeless person, have those memories I shall never ever forget. They were so precious, and they connected me then really with Union City. You see, because I never had a home anyplace else. This is it. My high school class became my family. That was the first group of people that I spent 4 years with.
What was your class, Bill? What was the year of your class?
Okay, my class was the class of 1951, and I got one of those folks that's sitting out here, and we've been friends for, oh my goodness, I guess 75 years. No, it's more than that. It's 79 years. And the hey, the cute thing about all that was, as we got into 47, is when we entered high school, and my name being Avery was put me at you know, the end of the Averys, or the A's, I should say. And then right next to that was the B's, it's A, B, C, and so on. And right next to me was a person by the name of Barnes. Now, you probably don't know who that is because that was a long time ago. Most of you not old enough to know it, to be. So, so we built a friendship there at that moment.
What was his name, Bill?
Her name was Dorla Barnes. Yeah, yeah, I can't ever forget her. She tormented me something terrible, and she's here today. I don't know if it's for, to please me. I don't even know if she knew I was going to do this. But anyway, it was one of those kind of things where you build a friendship, and it's gone on ever since. It's a treasure. I wish all of you had a treasure like that because it's so important. Friendships mean so much. But I I think we sometimes forget some of those older people. Who ever talks about their grandparents? And these people that nurtured me along the way, that's what they were. They were grandparents, but they filled a role that nobody ever sought or intended to do. It's not like I didn't have some friends or nice people around me, but those people went the extra step. And we need to start giving our grandparents and all those people that have an investment in you the credit they deserve. And that's what I want. That's my message to you today. Really, at Union City, there's no place. I am from Missouri. I love Missouri, but I only had 1 year there. That was 1936. And I can still remember where we lived and the things that we did as at that moment in time I was 3 years old because my birthday is in December, and so I was 4 in 1936 in December, and so uh, without I mean I can go on. This was a reckless thing that she did, okay? Because really I've got memories that.
I had questions.
But it's really been a real journey for me here at 94 years old. I would wish everybody could have it
What's your
experience.
favorite memory of Union City? Like your
Well,
favorite
I just mentioned all those grandparents. Those people, they mean so much to me. I'm telling you. Now I do have something that probably doesn't strike you as being a good memory, but it is. Uh, it's the people that built the Marble Manor. That was Leonard and Agnes Stimley. And they got mistreated so much. because, and you don't know this, but you will when I get done. I thank you for bringing that up, Bill. This is important, I believe. Uh, they uh, they were farmers. They had the farm right out there on the corner of M60 and Broadway and East, and they're being farmers. This was during World War One or Two, and if you had anything to do with the government during wartime, everything else was you couldn't do anything. You had to be a farmer. You couldn't buy stuff. I mean, it was uh, banned, or it wasn't.
Ration, right?
Pardon?
Everything was ration, right?
Well, it was rations, but some of it wasn't available unless you were a farmer. And so that Quonset hut out there was a building that was built because they were farmers and they were able to get the material to do that. After the war was over, okay, which ended in September of 1945, they put a marble floor in that and turned it into the Marble Manor. I want to tell you, was the best roller rink in America. It still would be. I'm telling you. And so, but some people got a little burr under their saddle or whatever that was and spoiled it. And that happened a little later on, probably around 1952 or three. And I can't tell you the details about that. But anyway, as though they were taking advantage of the government in changing a barn into another business. And to tell you something a little, I mean, I love that place. That marble floor was awesome.
Are those your roller skates?
These are my roller skates from there. Yes, they are. They did surprise me with this. So, but anyway, yeah, those came from Marble Manor, and they're 80 years old. But the beautiful thing about that facility was that uh, marble floor didn't magnify the sound of those skates. I mean, you could roller skate there and not even know you were roller skating. It was so quiet because it didn't magnify the sound of the rollers like it does. There's skate land and midland and Coldwater. All these had wooden floors. And the thing about that is that when you were in there roller skating, which I had at one time or another, the noise in there, it roared. I mean, it just, and so they had to boost the sound in order to, complement your skating.
Bill, the only thing wrong was that it gave all this dust, and every time you came home, you had to wash your hair because you were covered with this fine dust with that cement product.
Yeah. Well, hey, she was one of my favorites out there too. She was only in the eighth grade though when I started high school, but she's right. That marble floor, it required a lot of maintenance, and when that surface wore off, that concrete is what it was. It began to wear out your skates. Now, this is probably the fifth or sixth set of rollers on this pair of skates because it just kept grinding off the wood on those, and then that dust got in the air and it settled in your hair, and so when you left, you were 90 years older than you were when you started. So I mean, like some of these other folks that are like me, but yeah, but it was a great venue, and I remember the fact the most about the sound because it was like dancing on roller skates, and the sound didn't overwhelm you. You could appreciate it. You just it was awesome. Well, as you already know, I could do this for hours.
But we don't have all day.
Okay, you want me to quit? Hey, thank you, though. It's really special. This town means everything to me. Now, some of you might not like me, or whatever that is. I don't know that you don't, but
We
it,
love you, Bill.
it is so special, and I've done so many things here, made so many good friends, and there's nothing in this world more valuable than your friendship. And I just this is not an ad or anything, but maybe you didn't know it. last year in March, the American Family Association out of Mississippi, Missouri, they wrote an article in here about me. Okay, so it was March of 2025. Whoops. Oh.
Go ahead, you get it.
Okay, so it was March of 2025, and it's a two-page thing, and I didn't ask them to do it. They heard about me and they called up and and interviewed me on the phone for over an hour, and they said that I had to give them permission to write it in the magazine. And I said, well, it's true, so go for it. They didn't pay me for it.
As your time as mayor, is that what they're asking about?
No, if you remember 2024, the main thing on the agenda of the campaign for president was abortion. Okay, that's something I didn't share with you. My mother was a rape victim in 1932, and so she was not able to get a abortion, and because of that, you're dealing with me today, and that's a treasure I couldn't buy. And so that was not a, and it wasn't the dad that I had was not it wasn't him. Okay, he was just a jewel of a person. Things didn't work out very good for him, and it's unfortunate because he was a man of principle, purpose, and value. I'll never forget him because I'm a sort of a picture or a presentation of him, even though I don't carry his DNA. And so, like I said, I can.
Well, we appreciate that sharing. That was a lot to share, and I think it was very brave to share all that. Oh, thank you for that. That was very takes a lot of courage to say those things. Um, Before we go, we witnessed secret paths of the Underground Railroad, legendary hometown tales. By the way, we've got Michael Delaware here with his new book. Michael, you want to say anything a little bit about your new book? Okay, it's Crime and Corruption on Michigan's Railroad. He also does Michigan True Murder, Victorian Times in Southwest Michigan. And finally, memories of the people who have witnessed Union City firsthand. These stories remind us that history isn't about buildings or dates, it is about people. Yay! Was that? Oh, okay. So I just want to thank you once again for coming out today to hear these stories. And we're going to announce the winner of the bike. See who won the bike.
One last time, if anybody else that wants to get involved with the bicycle.
Okay. Should we do a drum roll? Does anybody else want to bid?
The bid right now is 360. Does anybody else want to bid? You want to go 4? Okay, we got 400.
Okay.
Anybody else that wants to go more than 400? Got 400. $400. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Sold. $400.
Woo! All right, you're gonna have fun with that bike. It's a nice bike. So thank you again. Let's have a big hand for our performers today. Steve Watson, Greg Hull, Michael Delaware, Mark Hitchcock, and Bill Avery. Thank you for our sponsors and donors, and thank you for coming today. And if you want to come up and take a look at Lee Bartlett's Olympic history, have a chance to do that. There's popcorn. And thank you once again for coming.